Snail Shell's Zombie Grisa was a huge hit in early 2025, and I even did a few videos on it myself, but I missed the pre-order and had to watch everyone else enjoy theirs. Now it's either sold out or going for ridiculous prices everywhere. But I managed to get my hands on one, and it is a version almost nobody has. The Ultra version that was an exclusive for the 2025 Global Miniature Art Hobby Show. Today, we're finding out if this zombie is a masterpiece or a rotting mess. Stay tuned. Welcome back as we unbox the Zombie Grisa, and just a heads up, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can actually do a giveaway from my figure collection. So if you like what you see here, like, subscribe, and even do that hype thing if you're on mobile. That appears to help a little bit. Anyway, let's get started and unbox this. So straight away, there's actually a huge difference between this version and the original, and that is, of course, the skin tone. This is a much darker skin tone, and the original was more of a blue, and this is more of a darker tan color. Grossly enough, I actually think that's actually more accurate to the way a zombie might look. But another huge thing that they did is they included an accessory that a lot of people bought on the secondary market, and it's these bendy wires. Now, you might notice that I have mine actually installed on her as kind of like a mummy. And that was actually my complaint about the original one, was that while it was very cool, it was just a figure you couldn't display anywhere, and for that price, you'd really want to. It was just too lewd. It was just too much unless you had your own little private figure room. And I actually made a comment. I said, you know, it'd be better if there was actually a way to make it slightly less lewd so you had multiple display options. Again, I'm no prude by any means. And I actually think they listened to the consumer, because this is the same very crazy, busty zombie lady underneath, but just these bendy wires that I've just kind of draped over there in a pretty haphazard way suddenly makes this something that you can display rather than something that you'd hide away. And I think that's pretty interesting. Now, these bendy wires, they are pretty much the main attraction for this. It is a slightly higher price, and let's be honest, these things are just glorified bread ties. There's nothing too crazy about them. They're just white bendy wires. But it does give you the option of doing some pretty cool stuff. And you can bend them into clothing, like I've done here, pretty simple. You can have a lot of fun using them as effects. You can bend them into almost weapon or attack effects, almost like the mummy character in Darkstalkers. You can bend them into weapons and all sorts of different things. So while it is a simple accessory, I think it added quite a lot of value. So for that reason, I think it's a huge reason to pick this one up. If you were sleeping on the other one, right off the bat, pick this one up. The articulation, everything else is perfectly the same as the other. Now, there's some really neat things. I don't want to double cover, but if you haven't seen already and you're looking for a reason to pick this one up, it has some pretty neat little features. Number one, there's a bone feature. Get your head out of the gutter. You can actually remove her arm at the shoulder and slide in this bone component that makes it look like just her arm is cut off at the elbow, which can make it look like her arm is just fallen off. But then you can also make her wield her own arm as a weapon, or just waving at people like Pennywise the Clown, which is pretty funny. You can also take that detached arm and you can attach it to this bit of mud and rubble that makes it look like the hand is coming out of the ground, which is a really cool effect, and it makes for some pretty neat photography options. Of course, you can also remove not only the bendy wires that I've installed here that don't come on it from out of the box, but you can also remove some of these other looser ones here, which again exposes a bit more along the legs and everything, depending on how you want to display it. So there are a lot of options here. There's also 2 additional faceplates, which are very cute. And one of the faceplates actually includes a movable eyeball, which I think is pretty neat because Snail Shell is kind of known for the movable eyes on their faceplates. Now, because she's a zombie, 2 of her faceplates don't have any eyes really whatsoever. They're kind of blank. But this one has one eye that you can actually see, and they actually went out of their way so that way you can adjust that one eye, and they include the tool and everything with it. So kind of a small little inclusion, but one I think is great. Now, you're gonna love the B-roll on this one because it's great. This thing poses great. It looks funny in every scene. For being a zombie, she has a ton of expression and really interacts well with the SH Figuarts power. I just thought that was really funny to like picture her in that zombie scene. Very funny to think about. So if you have the ability to get the Zombie Grisa Alter version, and I'm not sure really that you can get it now outside of the secondary market. I believe the only way you could get it was by placing a pre-order well before that show, and then the people at the show essentially bought them while they were there and brought them back. I believe that's how I ended up getting it. It was all a little confusing and more Chinese than I'm usually comfortable with, but I am very happy that I spent the money on this one because it is perhaps the rarest snail shell figure that's out there. I'm not sure. There's probably some that are, you know, exclusives to other places, but this has to be one of the rarest, and I didn't spend an arm and a leg for it. I actually got a pretty good deal on it through Gundamit, and I had some credits on there that helped a little bit, but yeah, brought a smile to my face, and I finally feel like I didn't miss out on all the cool stuff. She is, of course, 1/12 scale, which pairs perfectly with pretty much all your other figures, so again, you can have a lot of fun setting up some fun Halloween poses. And again, I really recommend this one with the bendy wire. In fact, if you have the original, it might be worth it. I believe out on Etsy and a few other places, you can actually get the bendy wires that are pretty close to the shade of her bandages. And you can probably pull off the exact same thing here, if not even a little bit cooler. So something to think about if you already have the original one. If you do have the original one, please sound off in the comments. I want to hear what you think about this one compared to the one that you have. Are there other changes that you can know? I would have loved to compare the two, but again, I missed out on the original one. I'm really excited about this one. This might be one of the favorite figures that I've ever gotten so far, and that says a lot because I've had a lot of fun with some great figures this year already. So, great start to the new year. You'll be seeing perhaps a live stream coming up where I assemble this Blokey's Unit 2. It's going to be the first time I ever try a live stream, so it could be a complete disaster, so you guys may as well tune in to see the carnage. But I'm really just going to talk and assemble this model and see what happens. So no pressure, but you'll hear more about that in the future. What are my thoughts on this one? I usually do the PP touch, which is the paint, the pose, and the touch. How does it feel? So I'm going to start with the paint. It is really difficult to show on camera just how much detail is here because the figure is a little bit dark. It's really hard to capture just how much color variation there is. There's color variation on the skin. Again, maybe a little hard to tell because I've got her all bandaged up. The difference in the hair, there's color gradation here. There's paint on the back. There's multiple paint applications on the front. Again, it's not just solid colors. They've done maybe what appears to be dry brushing to make it look aged. So it really does appear to be like somebody just crawled out of the dust. It's pretty neat. I'm excited they've actually gone that much. So paint, definitely a winner for the price point here. Again, price point probably a little higher than you would expect, but it's also, I don't think, something you can just pick up anymore. Pose. So how does she pose? Incredibly. Obviously, she's an action figure, so you can really get a lot of range of motion out here. She can do the zombie splits, double jointed knees, really can get a lot of posing out of there. And even underneath the chest, there is an additional joint there that flexes back and forth. So it's really only limited, I would say, by the back on the hair. There's not a ton of movement on the head because of the way the hair is placed. So that is going to limit the amount of like looking up that she can do. She can look down a little bit, a little side to side, but I will say that's probably one of the biggest limitations here is the head movement, which I guess makes sense for a creature who's dead. But just so you go into it ahead of time, there are also several different hands. There's a fist hand, there is like a claw hand, there's a whole bunch of different, a holding hand, and so you have some options there. Of course, everybody wants to see the zombie cheeks, and there they are. They are perfectly on display. As everybody knows, you know, zombies have the greatest cheeks, of course. So yes, incredible on the posing. I have no issues there. In fact, it also comes with a stand that allows you to get pretty creative with the posing. Pretty simple stand, nothing out of the ordinary, but it is something that's included that's often not included in other figures. So excellent posing. Again, my only negative here is with the head articulation, but a neat thing that you can do here with this figure that I've never seen before is you can actually adjust her eyebrows. Which again, pretty hard to even see her eyebrows, but with her eye kind of partially covered there, it does give you some opportunity to adjust the expression a little bit. And just a neat little touch, so I'm gonna definitely give some big points there. So touch, how does it feel? It does not feel cheaply made. This has some weight to it, especially in the head where you can really feel the weight of the plastic. I would almost say that perhaps it's almost too heavy on the top because it does start to, I wonder if it's going to eventually overwhelm the joints. But as they are, they do hold themselves up pretty good, and it doesn't really take much, even in these little tiny feet, to hold herself up. It's pretty good on the quality of the product, the way it feels. So I'm definitely going to give it high marks there. So if you haven't picked one up, try to pick one up. I'm not even sure where you can pick them up. I'm not even sure if it's available. I'll try and dig up some links and see if there's some place I can find that maybe you can find one. But if not, you'll just have to look at this one and enjoy some B-roll shots. Until next time, my name was Scott. This is Zombie Grisa from Snail Shell. Kampai.